Time for a fun one. Today, I'm going to count down the top 10 laptops of all time. So let's roll back the clock and start with the oldest laptop on my list, Apple's iBook clamshell, launched in 1999. These laptops completely changed the game. What you need to understand is prior to the iBook, laptops were ugly devices reserved for business people and tech enthusiasts like yours truly. The iBook clamshell was the first laptop that looked fun. It had bright colours and a handle that made it easy to carry around. This broadened the appeal of laptops to everyday consumers and started the trend that it was fashionable to sit in a coffee store showing off your laptop. Everyone from Elle Woods to Carrie Bradshaw had an iBook clamshell. But just 1 year later, another far better laptop was launched. In 2000, a little company called IBM rolled out the ThinkPad T-Series. This was well before IBM's hardware business was acquired by Lenovo. There were several iterations of the ThinkPad T, but I'll focus on the 14-inch version, as that's the one I personally owned back in 2003. What made it so special was that it was the first laptop that was an actual laptop. It was compact enough to be portable, yet it had a screen large enough to get real work done. For example, the iBook that I just mentioned weighed a whopping 6.7 pounds and had a small 12.1-inch display. This new ThinkPad weighed significantly less at 5.2 pounds, yet it had a far more usable 14.1-inch display. In fact, the ThinkPad T, as I recall, popularized the 14-inch laptop form factor, which is now one of the most common ones out there. But there was more. The ThinkPad came equipped with one of IBM's excellent red track points. This made using a pointing device on a laptop itself actually reliable. Back then, trackpads were tiny and inaccurate, which meant that most people had to carry around an external mouse. The ThinkPad T-Series was just such a breakthrough device, and it is still much loved to this day. Heck, it's about time that I reviewed one of their latest on the channel, so get subscribed with the notification bell on for that, as a review will be coming soon. The MacBook Pro 15 unibody is next on my list. It was launched in 2008. Look, one could argue that I should have included the original MacBook, or even the MacBook Air. Who remembers when Steve Jobs unveiled the Air, pulling it out of that manila envelope? But I personally feel that the MacBook Pro 15 unibody was just more of a special device. It represented the peak of a different era from Apple from the one that we have today. An Apple that not only delivered top-tier hardware, but also introduced innovations and allowed for upgradability. Yes, this Apple laptop had upgradable memory, storage, and a replaceable battery, imagine that. It also introduced a lot of tech that we take for granted today. It was the first laptop with a high-quality unibody build that was machined from a single piece of aluminum. This meant the device's chassis felt extremely premium, as all the panels fit very snugly together, just like MacBooks do today. That laptop also pioneered the glass trackpad, which was the first truly accurate trackpad. And it had some of the most powerful components of the time, including dedicated NVIDIA graphics as well as plenty of ports, both of which are now non-existent for Apple laptops. I have to admit, Windows laptops, they struggled for some time to compete. That was until 2012, when Lenovo gave us the Yoga, the first 2-in-1 that could fold into a tablet. I'm actually not going to give it a top 10 spot, but instead give it an honorable mention. That's because it was an example of tech for tech's sake. The reality of a convertible laptop is that it just makes a bad tablet. It's too heavy and it's uncomfortable to hold. Consequently, owners of them, they rarely use them as tablets. In fact, over the years of covering this industry, I've seen maybe 2 to 3 people actually use their 2-in-1 as a tablet. Yet, marketing departments convinced us all that we needed this new type of laptop. All of a sudden, every manufacturer was rushing out 2-in-1s. It wasn't until CES 2015 when I felt the next revolutionary laptop was launched. Surprisingly from Dell, a company known for boring old computers rolled out the sexiest laptop that anyone had ever seen, the XPS 13. Billed as a 13-inch laptop that was packed into a smaller 11-inch form factor, the XPS was the world's first true ultrabook. It was super portable and actually enjoyable to use. Yes, of course we had Apple's MacBook Airs before it, but back then the Air was just quite a large machine with huge chunky bezels. Anyway, this new XPS was super compact with a stunning edge-to-edge display. It was a premium laptop that looked stylish, had a comfortable keyboard and a good trackpad. It was a marvel of engineering, and it repositioned Dell as the premier manufacturer of Windows laptops, and the brand to buy if you didn't want an Apple. Back on 2-in-1s, one company took a different approach to this type of laptop, and it worked, but not in the way anyone expected it to, including I think them. In November 2017, Microsoft launched what I believe was one of the best laptops ever made, the Surface Book 215. To truly appreciate this laptop, you need to understand what laptops were like back then. Almost every laptop felt hot to the touch and had loud fan noise, even for basic tasks like writing a Word document. And most of the Windows laptops had dreadful trackpads and felt rather cheap, except for the XPS line that I already mentioned. The Surface Book 215 was almost perfect. It had a large, bright, high-resolution display. It was incredibly well built and just felt premium. It had a phenomenally accurate trackpad and a very comfortable keyboard. But the one thing that made it so special was its unusual thermals. What it did was to allow owners to detach the screen and use it as a tablet. Now, similar to most 2-in-1s, I never saw anyone actually use it like that. But by enabling this feature, Microsoft had to place the processor behind the screen, not underneath the keyboard deck like on most laptops. This meant that the main heat generating component was far from where your hands were. The thermals of this device were also helped by two other design decisions. The processor used was a 4-core U-Series one that didn't require as much power to run. This wasn't as powerful as the H-Series chips found in larger laptops at the time, but it was good enough for most people. Plus, Microsoft placed the dedicated GPU underneath the keyboard deck. This meant that the two heat-generating components were kept separately, which allowed for better thermals. When you put all this together, you got a laptop that was powerful enough to program on or have a decent gaming experience on with its GeForce 1060, yet it was still portable. It felt premium and was significantly more comfortable to use than other laptops of the time. But unfortunately, it was crazy expensive. The next laptop that I feel deserves a spot on this list is one of the most underrated laptops of all time. It's the Alienware 13R3, also launched around 2017. It was the first compact gaming laptop that actually was usable as a compact gaming laptop. With the R3 version of the Alienware 13, you got the GeForce GTX 1060, which was substantially more powerful than the laptop graphics that came before it. This enabled buyers to play most games at the time at decent frame rates at 1080 resolution. Not only this, but the Alienware R3 was also one of the first laptops to introduce an OLED display. Seeing true black, significantly higher contrast and faster pixel response times just made its display look so much more vibrant than other laptops of the time. This was also one of the last Alienware laptops that was compatible with Alienware's excellent external graphics enclosure. You could put a desktop graphics card in it to massively boost the power of the laptop, and this also meant that the laptop itself ran much cooler, as its internal NVIDIA graphics could be switched off. And Alienware's approach was much more efficient from a tech standpoint than other enclosures of the time. If you plugged your external monitor directly into the graphics card in the enclosure, you could get close to desktop level frame rates. And one last area where the laptop was a rock star was upgradability. Back then, Alienwares were designed to be easy to upgrade, and this one did not disappoint. Alright, let's now roll the clock forward to 2019, the era where content creation and streaming was really taking off. Everyone wanted to be a YouTuber or a streamer, and most laptops were simply not up to the task. At the time, as a creator, you were stuck buying an XPS 15 which wasn't that powerful, or a MacBook Pro 16 which was crazy expensive and was also not that powerful. Then came the Gigabyte Aero 15, the king of creator laptops. There was so much to love about it. The model I had a powerful GTX 1660 Ti, it had a stunning 4K OLED panel, a premium chassis, a very comfortable keyboard, and it was compact and portable. Heck, it was one of the laptops that helped me launch this very channel. A little scroungy Josh posted a review of the Aero 15 and was shocked when over 10,000 people watched it. Next, the IdeaPad 5 14 and 15 with Ryzen 4000. To understand how revolutionary these laptops were, I need to remind you what budget laptops were actually like in 2020. Most laptops under $800 had horrendous screens, resolution below 1920 by 1080 that made everything look pixelated, brightness super low around 200 nits, which meant that you had to squint to see anything, 4 gigs of RAM, cheap feeling keyboards, you guys get the picture. And then came the IdeaPad 5s with Ryzen 4000. These were the first laptops that really made budget laptops viable. Every part of them was good enough. and they also came with AMD's incredible Ryzen 4000 series of processors. These were the AMD processors which introduced their crazy multi-core performance that slaughtered Intel and launched many years of AMD's dominance. You can see how much of a demand there were for these kind of laptops given the almost 2 million views that my reviews got of them. And keep in mind, back then, my YouTube channel only had around 20,000 subscribers. Alright, now it's time for one of the biggest game changers in the history of laptops. In 2020, after several horrendous years of terrible MacBooks with garbage keyboards and inefficient Intel processors, Apple shocked the world by introducing their M series with the MacBook Air. And boy did it work. Up until now, all laptops suffered from what I named at the time the Intel curse. Terrible battery life, annoying fan noise, and uncomfortably warm feeling temperatures, no matter what you did on them. We all just assumed that hot feeling laptops with sub 4 hours of battery life was normal. The MacBook Air with M1 was the first laptop that proved that we didn't have to accept this crap. Its processor was so power efficient that the laptop didn't even need a fan to keep it cool. It had a long battery life, it didn't get overly warm to the touch, even without a fan, and yet it was still powerful. You could literally edit 4K videos on it so long as your project was simple, something that was completely impossible on Intel's terrible integrated graphics at the time. Even now, in 2024, Intel and AMD, they are still playing catch up to Apple's M series of processors. But it wasn't just the processor that made the MacBook Air so special. Everything about it was premium for the time. Its build quality, its keyboard, its display, its trackpad, its speakers. It was the obvious laptop to buy if you just wanted a good everyday carry and didn't need crazy levels of performance. The MacBook Air M1 was so ahead of its time, we were still recommending it 4 years after it was launched. Finally, my personal favorite laptop of all time, the GOAT award goes to the MacBook Pro 14. Out of every laptop that I've owned over the last 20 plus years, no other laptop to this day has been as perfect as the MacBook Pro 14. Since it was originally launched in 2021, it's been my most used laptop. It's the first and only laptop that just does it all well, except perhaps AAA gaming. It's incredibly powerful, powerful enough for high-end rendering or video editing, it's portable, it's got a high-quality screen, large enough to get real work done, it's got very long battery life, it's got phenomenal speakers, a great trackpad, a good webcam. This is the laptop that you buy when you want it all and you just don't want to worry about anything, except perhaps the price. The MacBook Pro 14, it built on the success of the MacBook Air M1 and just elevated it to a whole new level. Well, that's my personal list of the top laptops of all time. What did you think? Let me know with a comment below what your favorite laptops are. I want to know from you, what did I miss? And if you're looking to buy a laptop, make sure to check out our website. It lists all the laptops that we recommend for various types of users, and it also tracks sales to help you get the best deals on them. So go check that out at justjosh.tech. It's quickly becoming a hub for laptop buying. Finally, if you want to support the channel and help us create even more videos like this one, become a Patreon subscriber or YouTube member. Or something free that you can do is just hit the like button and get subscribed. Not only will it help us grow, but it also makes my dearest mother very proud. Till next time, go do something awesome with your day, and I'll catch you later.